Good morning and welcome to Winnipeg. Now, once again, I don't think we're going to have a sunrise. That's going to make, 4 mornings in a row now? It's kind of drizzling outside. Anyway, I got to talk about something here. Got a comment from somebody who I believe is probably in Australia. He said he's down under. And he is doing the Bismarck. And he's got extra add-on parts like the detailing kits. And he's got some 1/200 scale figures. And he offered to mail them to me up here in Canada. And at first I thought, yeah, that'd be all right. But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized, I really don't want to do that. So I'm going to try and put on my most humble and contrite and thankful demeanor. And I'm going to have to turn you down. But thank you so much. It's just something I just don't want to do. Now, if you are doing the Bismarck, undoubtedly you are watching Steve in the model shed. I think he has his email and address. I think you can get a hold of him. He might be interested in them. On the other hand, Steve might have a whole bunch of that kind of stuff already. I don't want to come across as being ungrateful. I will admit I'm kind of lazy because I'm thinking now I've got to take the plexiglass off the front of the case and put these on, and we're already getting some from Gabe. And now the reason I'm going along with Gabe's idea, there's probably 2 main reasons. First of all, he got into this way back in July. Started doing this back in July. Before I was saying things like, don't send me anything. Yeah, actually, now that I'm mentioning it, I'm sort of asking people, don't send me anything. Comments are great, but you can send me all the comments you want, or questions, or anything like that. But as far as sending me stuff goes, I would just as soon not. And like I say, I'm trying to tell you this as nicely as I can because I don't want to offend anybody. Now, earlier this morning I went downstairs to my workshop and I got a lot of stuff down there to do with sanding and so on. I think I must have, oh my goodness, must have 4 different types of sanders. Now, as I was saying that just then, I was thinking to myself, I wonder how many sanders I do have. And then the thought was flashing through my mind, well, next time I go down to the workshop, I'll take the camera with me, which I did. And I've got at least 6 different types of sanders, electric sanders. Now, I don't want to come across as bragging. However, I just thought I'd let you know. It's kind of ridiculous now that I think about it. But I've also got some little handheld things, for forming that you can wrap your sandpaper around to get the contour just right. So I went downstairs and I got some stuff that I thought might make it easier here. I'll probably use this one here. And we'll talk about it when I actually start doing it. Oh, obviously I've come back to the model table last night, and obviously we're going to have a rollback because we actually did something here. Got our first coat on. You'll see that on the rollback. Okay, I think I've talked about now, the don't send me stuff. So, yeah, I feel kind of bad about that, but that's the way I feel. I don't want people sending me stuff. But thank you anyway. The thought is more meaningful to me than the thing. Okay, let's roll back and see how it is we got to this place, and then we'll sort of carry on with our sanding. And yeah. Oh, and also the propellers. I painted them. We're going to take a really close. I'll put the macro lens on. I'll show you uh, where it's not coming out too good on the propellers there. It's going to need a second coat, in other words. I like to do everything in one coat if I can, but I don't think I'm going to be able on the props. So anyway, enough rambling on and on. Let's roll back. Now, I had originally made this thing up way back when I was doing the Titanic and Lusitania back in the 80s. And at that time, Radio Shack sold these things, and battery holders, and I've put the spacer in it here. If you remember, I had this in the Tamiya electric drill to slow it down. So I've got it in this thing to slow this down. Okay, this is my poor man's Badger paint mixer. Maybe one day I'll break down and get myself one. But okay, let's set this up. There used to be a foot switch on the other end of this, and it was actually quite handy. But for some reason I needed the foot switch for something else. So we're going to have to make some changes here. Okay, so I can just grab this and yeah, that's going to work. And now this clamp here is to help keep the little jar from flipping over when I'm messing around with it here. Maybe we'll just shove it all the way in. Yeah, that'll be fairly stable, comparatively stable anyway. The idea is that I want to be able to stir this in between paint dips or brush dips. Okay, just let me sort of recompose here a little bit, and I'll try and set up so that we can get in nice and close here. I think that what I'm going to do is, being is that I want to paint this side of the blades last. I'll do this one first, and then finish up on this side. And then if it sort of, you know, goes around the outside and gets on the suction side of the blade, well, that doesn't really matter. Okay, let me recompose here. Okay, I've just shaken this up in the paint shaker. Give it a bit of a head start. And I just wanted to show you that I put the plastic down just in case we have a disaster. Okay, now I'll move in here, in this area right here. Okay. Now, if I hold our propeller about this high, right above my little Canadian dime here, it should be perfectly in focus. Let's see now. How am I going to be able to switch this on and without putting this down? Well, I guess I can always stick it back in there, can't I? Well, here we go. Are we going to have paint sprayed all over the place, or what's going to happen here? Okay, I can see that we're going to have difficulty videoing this so that you can see what's happening. I might have to give these 2 coats. Yeah, I remember from the last time I used this stuff, I had to put it on fairly thick. I just looked at my monitor and I realized that I was blocking your vision there. Oh, that must have been annoying. Okay. Um, I had been planning on doing all 4 blades, excuse me, on camera, but I can see now that in order to be able to see it properly, I'm going to have to keep constantly moving it out of your field of view. I do think that by putting the primer on, it is painting better. At least I think it is. Yeah, this is really thick, isn't it? But it will look good if I can get it to if I can just get it to dry. Okay, I'm going to be doing the other 4 off camera, and then we'll take a close look at them. I think I'll be able to do a better job. All right, but anyway, you got the idea here. Well, I gotta tell you, this paint is extremely hard to apply. I've sort of got it, you might say, pooled on the blades, and it's just sort of surface tension is what's keeping it even all around the blades. It's starting to dry now. We'll look at it in the morning and see, what's happened with the first coat. I don't know if a second coat is gonna help or not, or am I once again gonna have to put it on so terribly thick? Now, I think what's happened is that testers or whoever made this, they've got the pigment way too coarse. It's yeah, the pigment is too coarse. I think if it was the same pigment, only ground finer, it might work better. It would still be the same color, but I don't know. Anyway, it's on. Now, as for our seam here that we want to try and fill up with this stuff, I've got an old credit card here. And I'm going to use that as a scraper because it will sort of bend and yet it won't scratch anything. I can't remember what it was I used when I did much the same sort of thing with the Bismarck. If you remember, the Bismarck had a piece that went right in here, and we had to, do the same sort of thing. I think it's going to work okay. I do recall that this stuff was water soluble, and if need be, I've got some water in a syringe here. So, yeah, let's just recompose and see if we can get it on. And if I mess it up completely, well, I guess we can always wipe it off. But I don't think so. I think we'll do one side. This is the side that's going to be against the wall. So we'll do this one first. We'll sort of practice on it. At least that's the plan. Okay. Now, clearly, this side here is a lot higher than this side. We're probably going to have to do 2 applications. Just see if I can get rid of this. Okay, let's let that dry now. My experience is with this sort of stuff, the more you mess with it, the worse it gets. So I'm basically satisfied with the way that went on. We'll just get rid of the excess here because we can't put it back in the tube. And this credit card worked really good. I can't remember, like I said, I can't remember what I used last time, but we'll be able to sand this nice and smooth. And then we'll put a second application on. And yeah, it's starting to dry already. It dries very quick. I wonder if I could get another application on tonight already. No, I better not. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to turn it over and do the other side. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do it off camera. Oh, I'll be doing it the same way. Okay, I knew you were going to want to see it. Well, I think these are probably still just a little bit tacky. It's probably, 2 hours ago we painted them? And maybe from that far away you can't see that there are places where the undercoat, or the primer rather, is sort of, you might say, glinting through where the blade meets the hub. Otherwise, they're not too bad, actually. You have to look really close to see that. But I'm going to let these dry overnight and see what happens if I try to give it a second coat. I don't think I've ever given a second coat to this stuff before. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm wondering, though, am I going to be able to read the numbers that are on the back of the blade? I think I have obliterated them, if you know what I mean. No, I can read this one. This one is just barely read it there on this blade here. It says number 2, I believe. But I can figure it out. I'm not that inept. Okay. Actually, I probably am. All right. We're going to let this dry overnight too. So, yeah, we'll see you in the morning. Normally on these belts, there's arrows, and for the direction that the belt is supposed to go. Mainly because of the way the seam is, but I think this is one of those seams that's kind of butted together, and it doesn't matter which way it goes. It doesn't overlap, in other words. So just thought I'd throw that in there for those of you who want to, sand down your hulls. You want to make sure you get the belt right, or it could fall apart on you and damage the hull when it came off. So we're going to take the 80 grit off, and my plan is to work my way up to 400 grit. So, like I say, it doesn't matter which way we get the belt on. So that's good. Okay, what we'll do is just let me recompose here, and we'll get at this. Okay, I think I'm all adjusted here now. Got our new 40 grit belt on. Now this might take a while to take down, so I might have to use the time lapse here in order for you to see it. But what we will do after I'm all done, we'll move in nice and close, and as I've often said, we'll have a nice close look. Okay, so here we go. Fingers crossed. You knew I was kidding, right? Okay, all kidding aside, I've got 400 grit on my little sand paper thingy, and what I'm planning to do is I'm going to try and remove, in other words, I'm not going to let this rock over like this. I'm going to try and keep it flat like this, and try and take this sharp edge down gradually. Now, when I get here where the hull becomes concaved and starts going like this, then I'll probably switch to this one here. But this one should take me from all the way around to about here. And now this is going to be kind of dusty, and like I mentioned before, I don't like to be handling my camera when I've got a whole bunch of very fine powdery stuff on my hands, because it will work its way onto the inside. I'm constantly changing lenses, so this is the plan. Now this defining line that you see right here, that's always going to be there. Maybe for doing the bottom here, I should turn the hull over and have it upside down. That might work a little better. I might get away with only having to put one application on here. I'll see how it looks after I'm through. But I'm going to have to shut the camera down and just go at this off camera. Okay, here's the plan. Let me zoom you in a little bit here. All right. Right here, I don't feel anything. But right here, I do. In other words, where the plastic stops and where I feathered it out starts, I can sort of feel it, which means I'm also going to be able to see it after it's sprayed. So I'm going to do this again. I think what I'm going to try is mix it up with just a little bit of water and thin it out. And also, when I put the straight edge, like this is basically straight, along the edge here, I can see that there is a little bit of a gap right here. Now, here where there's this defining line, I've actually taken the side of the plastic down a little bit, probably not very much, maybe not even a hair's width, but it has actually gone down a little bit, and it is really good right here, like where the point is touching, but the like I say, where it's feathered out is just a little bit on the bumpy side. Places like right here, where there's no putty, and also on right here you can't really see it too good. The plastic is perfect. Unfortunately, this is the bottom, and no one's going to see it. It'd be nice if too bad the sides couldn't have gone like that. Anyway, that's the plan for later. But right now, I think what we should do here, let me zoom back out, is do something with our propellers. If you remember, I said I was going to put the macro lens on and we were going to have a nice close look here. So let's just do that. Yeah, I want to do something different. I've been working at this for a couple hours already and getting, you might say, tired of it. Okay, this is probably the worst one, but you can see where the blades join onto the hull. The primer is showing through. It's not that the paint isn't covering there where the primer is showing through. It's just that what has happened is the pigment has left the carrier, or whatever they call it. And yeah, it's as I was mentioning, it's a very difficult paint to try and apply. So I'm going to give it a second coat. I'm just going to do one and see if it seems to work, and if it does, then I'll do the other three. Yeah, anyway, that's kind of interesting the way that works. I don't think I have ever used paint like that before. Yeah, it's kind of annoying, actually. I don't know why they made it that way. There's got to be a reason for it. Maybe the reason was they made a mistake. No, I don't know if I need to try and give the blades a second coat or not here. I'm only going to do the this side of the blades. Okay, noticing a little bit of white right there. Okay, for the most part, it seems that I have to put it on really heavy. Now this is the problem I had last night too. If I didn't put it on really heavy, it separated. Like the pigment. Yeah. Okay, I do believe that's better. In fact, I'm sure it's better. If it'll dry that way now, it's going to look okay. I'm not going to do the backs of the blades. Well, here is the plan. And the plan is I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to mix it up in this little lid here. Add a little bit of water with it and try and make it just a little bit more malleable, you might call it, or viscous, and cover up this feathering here that I can actually feel. Very slightly though. And but I'm going to do that later off camera. Well, no, I'll probably do it on camera, but I'm not going to be doing it in this episode. I guess that's what I meant to say. Okay, yeah, I'm going to wind today's episode up, and thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, We'll be seeing you tomorrow.